Oh, hey everybody, how's it going? Fuck, it's hot here. I don't know how hot it is outside, but I don't want to go outside. Actually want to get this video over kind of fast because I want to turn my air back on. And it sucks because I installed a new air conditioning thing right there. But it hits my goddamn microphone. Oh! Oh, man.
Tongue was strained. Calamity fidgeted. If I said anything, it would have to be now, while they were together and could draw support from each other as they answered. But what if... Calamity rubbed a hoof on the table, absently asking Velvet, "Hey, you think..."
And yes, I am too fucking lazy to go get a cup. It was right there. I might as well drink it.
Yeah, they did it on here. I changed the subject quickly, and not just because the answer was yes, and I didn't want them thinking about that when Homage put tea and a plate of cakes on the table. I guess I'm just concerned. I mean, you two are my closest friends. We travel everywhere together, and with hardly any pony else.
How's
And you are
Steelhooves
worried we've
doing?
grown intimate out of convenience. Velvet finished for me tactfully. Pretty much, yeah. Calamity snorted. Now, I know y'all might think that way coming out of a stable, but I've been down here for a while now. I've had plenty of other options, just never cared for 'em. He nodded upwards. Had options up there, too, but none of those mares in the service shared my feelings about helping the pony folk down here. A right turn-off if you ask me. I had to admit, I'd never even considered the idea of Calamity having relationships available to him with any pony other than us. He just seemed like such a lone defender that I thought of him as being just as much a stranger to the rest of the world as we were.
What? You think he's like some weird loner? Oh god, I just forgot. I gotta keep recording Log Horizon. Ah, shit, I forgot.
But hadn't Railright claimed that Calamity had been offered a home and a place in New Appaloosa? Homage came in with the tea and cupcakes. She smiled and gave me a little kiss on my horn, which suddenly felt pleasantly warm, as she floated the cup of tea onto the table in front of me.
"I'll admit," Velvet Remedy began, "that I was worried about the same thing at first. The first thing that attracted me to Calamity was his wings."
"I swear y'all got a feather fetish," Calamity nipped playfully. Velvet giggled primly.
"Not quite. I had just abandoned my home and risked whatever I would find out here for freedom. And there you were. More free than I ever imagined any pony could be. Not even the ground could hold you."
Ah,
Oh, shucks.
Sky's overrated.
I ain't no different than any other Pegasi.
"Oh, but you are."
Velvet cooed maturely.
"I didn't know it at the time, but you're so much more. I always wanted to be a medical pony, and I embraced the first chance I got. But I left my home behind for selfish reasons. You cut your shackles because they were preventing you from helping other ponies. You freed yourself out of compassion and kinship."
Calamity was blushing now. I realized that I liked seeing him like that. It brought out a beauty in him.
"You truly care about ponies,"
She continued, her eyes roaming over Calamity.
"and I've seen how you are with us, especially with little Pip.
She said, turning back to me.
Really?
He'll stand by you, never leave you, protect you even from yourself."
Always there to catch me, I found myself softly saying. Velvet Remedy smiled and nodded.
"I feel safe with him around because I know he will protect us. Especially you, since you seem to need it the most.
Aw, that's
But
sweet.
he's always been right there for me when I needed him too."
Nah, fuck it. No one cares.
I was all of a sudden feeling guilty again, this time for monopolizing Calamity's time. I lowered my head, breathing in the calm scent of zebra chai tea wafting up from my cup. Scowling a little, Velvet Remedy couldn't help but...
Where did you get zebra chai tea? So, judging by the name, I suppose it would have to be imported. Is that like 200-year-old tea? Ew! Fuck no!
add.
"I'm not saying we're a match made in the clouds. He does tend to jump to violence as a solution far too readily for my tastes. And he's not the only one."
She fixed me with a look. For a few moments, her gaze held me like steel, making me squirm. Then her expression relaxed.
But I realize that in the equestrian wasteland, violence is often the most appropriate response, although not as often
Usually.
as you two take to it. And at least both of you are motivated to shed the blood you do out of justice, compassion, and a sense of responsibility for your fellow pony, all of which seem to be sorely lacking in far too many ponies out here.
She turned to Calamity with a look that clearly said, "Your turn." Homage trotted around and sat behind me, watching unobtrusively. I felt a gentle support radiating off of her despite her recent disappointment. I was supposed to be being punished, but there was no hint of that. I found myself fervently wishing at Calamity not to blow it. I wasn't happy for them because I was worried they were going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted them to be together, I realized. I hoped for them. And Velvet's words were like a ray of heal.
I don't
untainted
particularly
sunshine.
care.
For the first time, I really thought maybe they could last together. So long as Calamity didn't say anything stupid in the next
Oh
few
god,
minutes,
he's
that
going to
was.
say something stupid.
Calamity shuffled, looking uncomfortable. I take it I can't just say ditto. I took a long sip from my cup, and the slightly bitter liquid washed over my tongue. I felt the warmth of the tea spread soothingly through me. Velvet Remedy gave Calamity a shake of her head. The Pegasus reached back to brush at his mane, accidentally tipping his desperado hat into his eyes. Well, she's beautiful, he started. Not just outside. Behind her outer beauties and occasionally a
I also just realized how much of a fat white boy gamer trope it is to be drinking out of a fucking full thing. But like, it wasn't full when I took it in here. It was like only right here. I'm not fat. I promise. Don't judge me.
brace of personality, but she's real beautiful inside, too. I winced. He was going to be paying for that one for a bit. I mean, from Calamity's shuffle, I guess he knew it too. But he was being honest. I hoped Velvet Remedy took that into account. Look, when we rescued her, I didn't know what to think. She was helping slavers. And she was, well,
Not a
I
good
was expecting her to be fancy and
thing.
prissy and highfalutin like the folks in the tower here. But she weren't like that at all. She's beautiful, but she's, I don't know, down to earth. He paused, looking for a word, then smiled as he settled on one. Practical. She's practical. And more importantly, she's devoted. She weren't helping slavers because she sympathizes for what any of them are doing, but because she's dedicated to helping folk. And she don't let unpleasantness or discomfort get in the way. Calamity wrapped his tail.
Also, I kind of want to know the story behind that. Like, how did Velvet Remedy get in with the raiders that she was working for him instead of just being enslaved or raped? Because she's a good-looking pony, apparently. A very good-looking one. So, like, I don't know. Like, fuck.
Around Velvet Remedy, who was holding.
I don't know
him
how
with
that
attention.
happened.
She's faithful. She stuck by our side even as we walked into hell. Her wanting to play diplomatic like with aggressive or evil types does wear thin, but I reckon maybe there's something to it sometimes. And she does that 'cause she really does care about folk. And she really is committed to helping them. Even if a
I'm
mess of them
tired.
don't necessarily deserve it. But it ain't like her to ask if they do. He shrugged. How can I not absolutely love her for that? Looking into Velvet's eyes, Calamity finished by saying, "It's like you're just what the doctor ordered, you know?"
You
Velvet rolled
nerd.
her eyes at his corniness, but smiled. Look, the equestrian wasteland ain't a pretty place. It's rough and it's grim and it's bloody. And some days it can be hard to remember what's worth fighting for out here. But you know what? I don't have to look any further than at this here charcoal unicorn mare sitting next to me to be reminded just how good ponies can be, and just how worth it all the struggle is. Part of me wanted to jump up and hug them. Part of me wanted to tell them to get a room. But then, I was kind of to blame for them not being there right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Say it
I'm
anyways.
convinced, I said with a smile. Alma wrapped her forelegs around me from behind. Our own coupleness made me feel less awkward in front of theirs. Yes, Velvet Remedy said suddenly to Calamity while giving the cakes a declining look.
I think they did do things on this table.
Homage bit into one of my suddenly burning ears playfully. Far too
Oh,
late. I
shit.
changed the subject. So, how long have you two been together? Calamity laughed. You mean physically? Since what? He looked at Velvet, who was trying to keep a ladylike distance from the question. Yesterday? I blinked.
Wow.
Oh, come on, little Pip. We didn't even kiss before last week. Velvet Remedy sighed, then said smoothly,
Really, little Pip, we have you to thank that we have a relationship at all.
Wait, what? Yep. If and it weren't for you acting like we was already a couple back at that stable, I don't think we could have started looking at each other that way. I blushed so hard I should have caught on fire. Calamity rolled 2 memory orbs across the table to me. You said it was okay to see these things again. I caught them in a telekinetic blanket.
It
Careful
was?
not to focus directly on either of them. Are they mine?
Are these more fucking memories I got
No.
taken out?
Traded for them. That caravan pony claimed they were genuine memories of Rainbow Dash.
Ooh.
He gave me a wry smirk as my heart gave a little leap. I was actually thrilled to learn anything more that I could about those ponies. When had it become such a passion to me?
I
Are
don't know.
they? I asked hopefully. Well, from what you said last time, Calamity responded with a voice suggesting he felt snookered. Not exactly. I floated them into my saddlebags for safekeeping and finished my tea. It was now barely lukewarm. The conversation had lasted for a while. After Velvet and Calamity had taken their leave, I felt Homage's forelegs slip away from me. The cups, saucers, and plates of cake lit up with a glow of Homage's horn and began to float themselves back to the kitchen sink. I felt like a warm blanket had just been pulled away from me on a chilly winter night.
Aw, that's sad.
I guess I should go now. I'm still being punished, right? I got up and began moving, but not in any particular direction.
Well, the door's over there.
Yes, Homage said a touch reluctantly. I wished punishment didn't mean having to be apart from her. The thought of being alone tonight hurt more now than it did before. I stopped next to a desk littered with Homage's personal things. She had a triptych of pictures framed on the desk. Pictures of me in the wasteland, my friends nearby.
Where'd you get those?
Pictures were taken from someplace high above and far away, zoomed in until I nearly filled the frame, but washed out with the odd tint of all the air caught between the camera and its subject. I suspected that the pictures were taken by the cameras on those spires.
Oh, okay. Okay,
And
that
I suspected the willing separation tonight hurt Homage just as much as it hurt me. Couldn't you just, spank me instead or something? I asked, hoping for a faster punishment. Homage laughed. No, but tomorrow night I might, as a reward. I looked at her in confusion, one ear dipping. How would spanking be a reward?
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh. I lost balance, my head crashing to the desktop. I backed up, stumbling, seeing stars.
What is your wisdom stat?
Homage was chuckling even as she trotted up to make sure I was okay.
Fuck.
I think I better go now, I told her. Before I hurt myself. Again. I ambled through the market sector of Tenpony Tower, paying little attention to the ponies around me.
Also, granted, those pictures taken, little creepy. I understand it to be the camera spires and stuff, but still, tad a bit creepy. not a lot, just a little.
The smells from the restaurants and snack shops teased my nostrils with promises that were probably too wonderful for the centuries-old packaged foods to deliver.
Yeah.
But I let my nose drag me towards one of them anyway.
Noodles?
Looking at the wall-mounted menu, my eyes widened at the price.
Wait, no, this is
each of
before
which was now
Fallout
written
4.
in pencil with telltale signs of several previous erasings. I lifted my pip buck, checking how many caps I had on hoof. Velvet Remedy had been the queen of barter, so we'd been letting her keep most of our caps. I barely had enough for Sparkle Cola or a box of stuffed apple cakes. Filled with a sweet candy apple filling and 5,000 times the daily recommended amount of preservatives. Yay. I plopped
5,000?
down my bottle caps and ordered a cola. I watched as a pony slid the caps off the counter with a hoof, then picked up a crowbar in his mouth and trotted back to a still functional Sparkle Cola machine, prying it open and fetching my drink. A chain and padlock on the ground told me how they kept their supply secure at night. I took my cola, floating it next to my muzzle and tasting the lukewarm, deliciously carroty flatness. I was an hour into my exile, and already hating it. I spotted Calamity leaving the constabulary, looking disgruntled. "Highway robbery," he groused. "Anywhere else and I could buy an armor-piercing round for what they were asking for a rubber one," he added. "Well, if anywhere else sold 'em, that is."
It's probably really hard to get the, supply and demand. Furthermore, given the secure nature of this place, it can't be easy getting ammunition through the security checkpoint. Most of it's probably requisitioned by the security staff, so, you got that.
I scampered over to trot at his side. "How's your wing?" Calamity smiled, judging my intentions. "Velvet and I doing just fine. Well, not fine. She's hurting inside. What happened to both of us at Old Olney scars her badly, but we're working through it together, so don't try to get us set up with that shrink again." I blinked. I did that? I had considered it earlier. "Yep, not one of your better plans," Calamity noted, "but well-intentioned."
What went
I wasn't
wrong?
sure I wanted to see that memory. Ever. We walked in silence a while.
I want
I
to see
drank
that
my
memory.
cola, then offered some to my friend. Calamity accepted, biting down on the bottle's rim and tilting it back for a swig. Then he passed it back. We walked on in silence some more. "I'm worried, little Pip." I nodded. There were about 100 things for us to be worried about, plus several extra ones for Calamity as he plunged into this newly deeper relationship with Velvet Remedy.
It's fine.
It's the Enclave. That experiment in Old Olney. That was new. Post-Calamity new. I don't know why they'd be there, why they'd be doing that.
They
Or
want
what they're all
cannon
up to.
fodder. That's pretty much
He
the
looked
most
at me.
sensible explanation.
And I'm worried. Of all the possible worries he might have, this was the one I expected the least. But I knew that I shouldn't have. These were his ponyfolk. His home.
Not really.
They had to be weighing on him as much as concerns for Stable 2 weighed on me.
Nah, fuck 'em.
"The Pegasi are good ponyfolk," Calamity said. "Whatever happens, remember that. 'Cause the Enclave, they ain't. Not so much." I was in a large foyer, marbled in gray. Large vertical windows let in the gray light of a rainy day. Outside, a dozen ponies were protesting, chanting and waving signs in the rain. Inside, ponies trotted about on personal business, or stood in conversing clumps. Many wore long raincoats, still slick with a wet sheen. A few were hauling small wagons filled with boxes. My host was an earth pony mare sitting behind a long counter, gazing languidly at the text on a terminal. From the stirring warmth in certain parts of her body, the story she was fixated on was of a cloppy nature, and probably not safe for work.
Oh my.
A
Read it.
familiar voice echoed from somewhere above, and safely distant enough that my host was able to change the screen, to a memo on wartime stress disorder, without rushing suspiciously. She looked back and up, her eyes moving to a spiraling set of wrought iron stairs that descended from a mezzanine level above. The whole lobby gave me the impression of ministry architecture. A flash of light erupted about 4 yards from my host's counter, wrenching her attention away from the stairwell before she could spot who she was looking for. Rarity stood in the lobby, wobbling slightly. Her dress, mane, and the large satchel on her side all hissed up wisps of smoke. She blinked, wide-eyed, seeming disoriented. But in an eye blink she had gathered herself together and was trotting up to my host with an urgent expression. "Hello, welcome to—" My host began politely, but Rarity was in too much of a hurry for niceties.
Yes, I know where I am and I know who you are,"
she said, waving a hoof.
"I need to know if Rainbow Dash is still here. Please tell me I haven't
Nope.
missed her."
Before my host could answer, that familiar voice answered for her.
Ah, damn it.
Hovering about halfway down the spiral staircase, Rainbow Dash exclaimed loudly, "Whoa, Rarity, did you just teleport here?"
Yeah, that's pretty
Standing
new
on
for
the
you.
steps behind Rainbow Dash, Applejack was looking equally impressed. Her orange coat and blonde mane made for a welcome splash of warm colors in the stark, cool room. Rarity paused, seeing the two of them, then smiled with a soft whinny.
Yes, well, I have been trading spells with Twilight for years now, and let me tell
I
you,
don't
it
think
is
that's
not
how it
as
works.
easy as she makes it look.
With a wince, she added.
How's my mane?
Terrible.
Rainbow Dash swooped down to greet her. It's fine. Descending the stairs, Applejack added. It looks gorgeous, Rarity. It looked like she'd run a few laps around a burning house.
I was right.
So what's up? Rainbow Dash asked cheerfully. Rarity glanced behind her and up towards Applejack, a brief look of unease passing over her face, and then turned to Rainbow Dash.
I had some things to talk to you about, but it can wait until you're alone.
Rainbow Dash blinked. Then her eyes opened wide. She whispered, "Oh, about the new..." Then glanced back towards Applejack, too.
Fuck!
Armor?
Fuck! Fuck! I knew it! The second Rarity appeared in here looking all afraid, I knew it had to do with necromancy. I fucking knew it. I knew it. And it backfired, didn't it? It backfired. You created a helmless horror, didn't you? Fuck, is that the name? Let me look up for a second. I'm sorry. Helmed horror, not headless horror. My bad. So yeah, that's what Rarity made, wasn't it? She made a helmed horror. Fuck's sake. Using necromancy on suits of armor, imbuing them with soul fragments. It's a fucking helmed horror. That's what she made. That's why she's so scared and freaked out. Why she had to get to Rainbow Dash really fast. Because it backfired, everything's exploding, and the video's probably gone on for too long. The video was not over yet. I just lost the ability to do math. I blame Mountain Dew. It took away my brain cells. Yeah. Anyways, we got like 8 more minutes.
Rarity nodded.
That and the other thing. I've been having a lot of trouble trying to perfect that spell, and I wanted to see the device you wanted embedded into it.
Oh. Rainbow Dash reached back and scratched at her rainbow mane with a forehoof. Well, Apple Bloom's all set to procure a life support capsule from the Ministry of Peace. We should have it by next week, but...
Life support capsule. No! Is that what they're trying to make? Are you trying to make a fucking dreadnought? No, that's I mean, dreadnoughts are fucking awesome. They're cool. But like, when you know the lore around dreadnoughts, no. Oh no, that's terrible. Like, holy fuck. That's bad. Those guys are going to be in such eternal torment. I mean, I guess the idea is you could decommission them afterwards, but that's still fucked. That's fucked. The ponies are going too far. These fucking ponies are
Well,
going
she's
too
going to be
far.
modifying it a lot.
Do you need to wait till it's finished? Rarity raised an eyebrow.
Apple Bloom was part of this too.
Yeah? Why, is that a problem?
Well...
Rarity said, brushing her left forehoof in circles against the marble floor.
I really don't want my little sister anywhere near this research of mine. And she and Apple Bloom are best friends.
Did I just hear my little sister's name? Applejack said, trotting up from the bottom of the stairs. Rainbow Dash turned and smiled. Yeah, she's helping me on his project. I thought the Ministry of Awesome didn't actually do anything. Dash snorted and puffed herself up.
They don't do anything that isn't awesome, you mean?
Rarity and Applejack exchanged looks of doubt.
Anyway,
Rarity said a little too hastily.
I really should be going.
Wait, Applejack said. You mean you teleported all the way over here just to go? She frowned. How come I get the feeling I'm undesired company?
You are.
Unwanted?
Rarity gasped.
Oh, heavens no. If anything, I want more Applejack.
I sniggered inwardly and was glad my eavesdropping host didn't do the same.
We don't see nearly enough of each other anymore. Feels like ages since...
She paused, then chimed up.
Idea! We're together right now. Let's do lunch.
Rainbow Dash shrugged. Sure, why not? Applejack chimed in. Well, I got about an hour before I gotta be at a meeting for all the governors of the Ministry of Technology. And there is that new apple fritter place that Caramel Apple's kids have just opened up, which I've been meaning to try.
Sounds perfect.
Rarity clapped her forehooves with a demure squee.
Wait, aren't those the same brutes who tried to kill you with an elevator?
Applejack's eyes narrowed. That ain't
Um,
never been proven.
Still, the idea of you spending time in a room with that lot.
Yeah, Rainbow Dash jumped in. Want me to come with you? If they're planning anything funny, I'll make them think twice.
They're probably playing
I
something
can
funny.
handle myself just fine, Dash. But I do thank you kindly for the offer. Seeing her two friends still frowning, unconvinced, she sighed and added, Besides, Sergeant Steelhooves has already offered to be my personal escort. Have I met this guy? Rainbow Dash asked suspiciously. Are you sure you can trust him? Applejack sighed. I don't think you have, but he served with my brother. He trusted him, and so do I.
Wait,
A smirk scrawled across her muzzle.
is
Besides, I don't plan on being there too long.
I'm
Just
getting
enough to get my
timelines
speech.
confused.
I've been practicing it all day. Want to hear it?
No.
Rarity's eyes widened at the thought of listening through an entire speech by Applejack. Or perhaps just alarmed at having to do so in a public lobby while her mane was frizzy.
Maybe over lunch?
She suggested. Sure, Rainbow Dash encouraged Applejack with considerably more volume. Let's hear it. Okay.
God damn it,
Applejack
Rainbow.
paused, stood straight and tall, cleared her throat, closed her eyes. Y'all are fired. Rarity and Rainbow Dash stared. Applejack opened one eye and blushed. Well, how was it?
That's it?
Yep. She blushed some more, looking a bit proud of herself and yet a touch worried. Awesome, you tell him, AJ.
Fuck yeah!
Rainbow Dash grinned wildly as Rarity stomped on the floor with applause. Dang, now I want to go just to see their faces. Hey, Rainbow Dash. A voice called out from the doorway, causing her head to whip around. 3 elderly Pegasi trotted into the lobby. One of them, a light gray buck with a short-cropped age-grade mane that fell over his eyes, hadn't been wearing a rain slicker and shook himself, spraying water everywhere to the shouts and grumbles of the ponies in the lobby around him. Hello, welcome, my host began to say, but her words trailed off as the 3 Pegasi pushed their way up to Rainbow Dash, ignoring every pony else, including her friends. Hey Rainbow, remember me?
Nope.
A mustard-colored buck added, stepping forward in front of the others. He was an unusually large buck, his rain slicker covering only half of his flank, revealing most of a large orange basketball for a cutie mark. I wondered idly if he had 1 ball or 2. Then immediately wanted to jab my hoof in my eye to kill the mental image that followed. Rainbow looked them over and then narrowed her eyes and shook her head. Sorry, no, I'm rather busy and only have time to remember important ponies. The 3 all scowled. Their muster one growled, shoving a hoof into Rainbow's breast. Well, then maybe you remember my little brother, who's one of the Pegasi you got killed fighting that dragon over Hoofington. Rainbow Dash's eyes went wide. Her demeanor changed immediately. Oh, I'm so sorry. Several brave ponies died valiantly that day. Yeah, said the 3rd, a Pegasus the color of dark dusk with piercing blue eyes and few remaining strands of a sandy mane in his bald-coated head.
Wow,
Seems
these
like
guys
an
got
awful lot
fucked.
of Pegasi die valiantly these days. In fact, seems like we do the bulk of the dying. I don't know any pony in Cloudsdale who ain't lost family. Rainbow Dash nodded sadly. The war, the dark dust pony scoffed. The war is on the ground, against zebras. And dragons, Rainbow Dash reminded him.
When the
Using
dragons get
dragons
involved.
now, in case you somehow forgot. Not to mention Griffin Mercs.
And some of them have magic fetishes that can allow them to fly.
Rarity chimed in knowingly.
If you think it's impossible for an earthbound mare to fly her way into Cloudsdale with the right magic, you have tragically short memories.
The mustard-colored one spat. Well, they wouldn't be bringing in dragons if the Pegasi had just stayed out of the war. Now I hear you pushing Luna's new initiative to put even more Pegasi in the front lines. You won't be satisfied till every one of us is facing down zebra guns.
If everyone in Cloudsdale has lost some... I mean, it could be hyperbole, but Cloudsdale does not look like a big town, so... And it also seems like the major Pegasi center. Who the fuck is Luna drafting? Are we getting into World War I Germany levels where you're conscripting 15-year-olds? Like, what's going on here?
If the had just
By the way, I really do think Fallout Luna's an idiot. Granted, pretty much everyone involved in this scenario is dumb, but mostly her. Because, hey, K-Cat, you kind of back me up on this with the whole idea that the ministries are pretty dumb ideas. At least, who you put in charge of them was dumb. Like, fuck. I love the Alicorn Celestia Luna Cadence, but because of that love, I also get a large sense of fuck! I get a large sense of pleasure by bashing them. I don't know. I kind of like bashing characters I enjoy. I don't know why.